go.
Hello.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, political deep dive fans of all ages. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. I'm Dave Valente. Joining us, as always, AJ. How you doing, AJ?
I'm doing pretty well. I woke up in Colorado today. It was a good
Yeah,
day.
there you go. There you go.
That's a plus.
Yeah, and Dan, the man Fishman.
What is up? I'm, as it says down below, I am proudly dansexual.
Dansexual. Only sleeps with Dans.
Exactly. All the best people are named Dan. And I want to point out, too, I'm not discriminatory within that name set. Danielle, Danny, Daniel, Dan. Yeah. Or even like, variations. Pan. No, that doesn't work. I don't know. I can't think of anything else, but.
I'm not so lucky on that front. I don't think there's like a Dave or David.
There is a feminization of.
I mean, Davida, I think.
Yeah, Davida. But
not a whole lot of Davidas out there, though. So
no.
The pickings are rather slim.
Yeah, but maybe you could take like a rearrangement of. Well, no,
Todd doesn't work either. My middle name doesn't work either. So.
What's your middle name?
Todd.
Yeah, no, Todd doesn't help.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that Todd is its own name, but I guess it is, right?
It is. It means fox in Welsh.
Really? All right. Yeah. What does the fox say?
Yip.
Ding, 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 ding,
yeah, that was a weird damn song. Yeah, so how's everyone?
Speaking of weird, let's talk about Trump.
Hey, Liz, how you doing? Hey, Janice, thanks for joining us.
What is up, Liz? My Indiana people in the house.
Yeah. Before we get too far, let's see. Let's talk about Lou Dog Design.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
some of the great, awesome stuff that comes from Lou Dog Design. This QR code's down there. Scan it with your phone. Get sent to the website. Check out all the cool stuff. Yeah, political deep dive merch on there, and great political merch on there as well that are not quite political deep dive related, but
now my understanding actually is that white shirt, there's somebody out there who has one that has been signed by me and Dave, but they missed AJ in Nashville, and so now they're going to have to come to Colorado to get her to sign it.
Yeah.
But that's the big thing, man. You get that shirt, you get it autographed by each of us. I don't know that we have a reward for the first person who does it.
No, if you get it signed by all three of us, you achieve true podcasting enlightenment.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's worth all of
you will achieve full consciousness on your deathbed.
That's right. Hey, Greg, and hey, Drew, how you doing? Ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy. All right.
So yeah, check out the Lou Dog Design. Also, give us a like, share, subscribe, whatever you're viewing us on, whether it is X or Twitter or whatever the Twix.
And let me just say, for the people who might be watching this on their phone and you don't know how to use a QR code on your phone, take a quick screenshot and then open up the screenshot in your camera, and there'll be an option to scan for QR codes.
I did not know that. I learned something tonight.
Yeah, I learned this last week because
I always thought like somebody sends you a QR code on your phone and you're like, I can't fucking use that.
you're Android, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you just open it up in picture, and when you're looking at the picture, there's an option at the bottom that says lens. Okay. Click lens, draw a circle around the QR code. It'll do all the rest.
That is cool.
Damn.
I learned something new tonight. How's everyone's weeks going? I know, AJ, you were doing booths this weekend.
Yes. Art by Ash had his first vendor event in Colorado. We were down the road.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was hot. It was nice though, and they played music, and only like 3 of the songs were country, and one of them was Dolly Parton, so we can forget it. But there was just a moment there where Charlie was eating barbecue and fucking Luke Bryan was playing. He was like, ew, this feels like home. Like we're just like, no. But no, he did pretty well. We met some good people. I got some cool merch. I also got a little bit of sunburn, but only like one spot. I don't know what it is about me. When I shave my legs, I miss one spot. Apparently, I also do that when I do sunscreen. I miss one spot every time. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I do that too. And then then for the rest of the summer, you've got this one tan spot because it'll eventually tan, and yeah, for me that's what happens. So
Yeah, my partner got a bad sunburn in the Barbados. We were there first week in May. She still has it. Like, it's not red anymore, but like the tan outlines on her back of her swimsuit.
oh yeah,
Still there. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, she's incredibly fair skinned. It's just among the dumbest things that I've done in terms of not telling her, hey, you need to put a shirt on, because it's crazy. But it is what it is. Bad sunburn is a bad sunburn.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got a 2nd-degree sunburn one time.
Yeah.
Getting high in a pool in Albuquerque in 104-degree temperatures. That'll do it for you.
That'll do it. That'll do
Yeah,
it.
it will. That will.
All right. So, Dan, what you do this week?
Really, it was all work. Cranking away with Real Report, getting close to launch.
Cool.
It is interesting to work with people across a lot of different time zones. Like, I sort of had done that beforehand, but now it's especially fun because everybody loves the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And so we talk about what's going on. And India had some surprise wins in archery, and actually they'd done remarkably well in the 4x400 relay as well. So talking about that, and then Israel had a couple wins, most recently a gold in windsurfing, which was quite surprising. And I had not seen windsurfing for a while, but if you've watched competitive sailing, you know how the boats have these sort of rudders now that lift the boats entirely out of the water.
Yeah.
So the windsurfers have that now too. So the surfboard is not actually in the water anymore. It's just like this little thin line, and then there's a rudder underneath in the water. So they are flying like 26, 27 knots. And it was very surprising.
I've seen those boards where people, it's like, it's almost like they're jumping. They're on the board, they're jumping, and it creates the motion for them to go forward.
So it's that sort of design, but in this case, the wind moves them along fast enough that it keeps the whole board out of the water. So it's just the little
That's
thing
crazy.
there. It is. It's amazing. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching the Olympics. And so this is an interesting thing too. I just had a post pulled on Facebook. I've been having problems with squirrels in my chicken coop. And I tried to shoot them with my pellet gun. I have an air rifle. And for people who don't know a lot about guns, they're like, oh, maybe you should get a real gun instead of an air gun. A pellet rifle, a good pellet rifle, actually has a faster muzzle velocity than a 22. You don't have to worry about the bullet going so far that's going to shoot somebody. And it's got more than enough stopping power to kill a squirrel or a small rodent, anything like that. So a good air rifle is a great way to eliminate vermin. However, I haven't used that air rifle since
Not Vermin Supreme. Please don't.
Not Vermin Supreme, but vermin that are threatening your chickens.
We like vermin.
We like Vermin Supreme.
Yes.
But I haven't used that air rifle since I moved from Boston. I didn't ship it in a case. It's clear the sights are off. So I want to resight the rifle. And I made a post on Facebook. I'm saying, I want to resight my rifle, but it's, I don't want to buy one of those $250, $300 sighting machines. Does anybody have a recommendation? We actually had a lot of good comments on the thread. And then Facebook said, nope, you have violated our rules by trying to sell a firearm. And I'm like,
Well, I mean, dumb algorithm sees money and gun in a post. I guess that may be why it got pulled, but that's still bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Well, and there's a person who is a fan of the show, not on right now, but they've commented. I don't want to reveal his cover, but this person is a senior engineer at Facebook, and so he always gets all my bands reversed, which is great. And so this will get reversed as well, and hopefully makes the algorithm better. But the other thing about it is, like, I'm hunting this down because I want the gun to work, because if I can't get the gun to work, I'm going to have to poison them. And I don't want to use like poison because we eat everything that we get out of the ground, and other animals will eat this, and I don't want them to get poisoned. So I'm going to have to use baking soda, which, you ever heard the story about seagulls and Alka-Seltzer? Yeah. So it's 100% true for small vermin, and baking soda essentially backs up their GI system, stops working. And
that's awful.
Exactly. It's a terrible way to die.
Yeah.
I'll do it if I have to, but I'd much rather just give them a nice humane shot and kill them. So hopefully I did. Somebody taught me how to build the sliding machine. So hopefully I'll be out there. I mean, a squirrel at 25 yards is a tough shot. I've killed squirrels before in Massachusetts at 10 yards with this gun. So I'm going to try to sight it in for around 25 yards, which is where I would be if I'm on the porch looking out into the garden where the squirrels
get off my damn lawn.
Exactly. So that's how my week's been going.
All right. Yeah, I joined the gym this week.
Exciting. Good for you.
Yeah, went to the gym for the first time in many years, and the first time I ever went to a gym, I got on an elliptical for 5 minutes, and then I was like a newborn baby foal trying to walk for the first time. It was what happened to my legs? I can't, like, I did do spinal damage or something.
Right.
But yeah, I did like 30 minutes on the treadmill, did about a mile and a half or 3 kilometers, and then I did
great foreigner.
Yeah. And then I did a 5K on a recumbent bike, and then I did some time in a sauna, got my finish on.
How close is the gym to you?
It's in Hagerstown, so it's just north of me, like maybe 7 or so miles.
Okay, so 10-minute drive.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's good. How much do you want us to ask you about it every week? Can we support you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you can ask me about it every week.
So I think that's what we should do. I will make a suggestion, and you can do whatever you want to with this. I got one of those digital scales with a Bluetooth meter on it. The one I got is Renpho, Renpho, and I love it. So, like, I stand on it, I get a chart on my phone. It tells me my BMI as well as my weight, trends, stuff like that. And I remember the last time I tried to lose a lot of weight, and I had a friend who said, you should just hire a personal trainer. I'm like, how much is that going to cost? He's like, it's not expensive. It's expensive. I don't want to sound like an asshole when I say this. He's like, but it's you get a personal trainer for, a little bit more than your cable bill. And I'm like, well, I don't think I want to pay like that. I'm like, it's like, Dan, if I told you right now that you could pay $300 a month and you would lose 10 pounds every month, would you do that? I'm like, oh, in a fucking heartbeat. He's like, you can do that. If you hire a personal trainer, you will lose 10 pounds a month at least. He's like, so do it.
I've had good and bad experiences with personal trainers in the past. Better experiences with female personal trainers than male.
Yeah.
The guys, and in fact, I've talked to a couple personal trainers, after I stopped going to the gym. Some of the guys that look at dudes like me, they're just trying to get you to quit because they don't like dudes like me in the gym.
Right.
So the experience I've had with dudes have not been good. And they're just trying to drive you into the ground. The 2 times I've had women personal trainers, they've actually worked with me trying to create a way to lose weight, and not, beat me up every second of the workout. Like that, they understand. Like that, I had this personal trainer, the first personal trainer I had after I had my surgery, I'm on the treadmill, and he's like slapping that thing up to 7 miles an hour.
Right.
I'm like, I'm still over 300 pounds at this point. I'm
Oh my,
how haven't run in 2 decades. How am I supposed to do this? And but yeah, that was kind of the insight that I had a couple of friends tell me about. I'm like, that just sucks. Like these are the people that you should be encouraging to stick with their plans and work in the gym. But yeah, there are some jerks out there. So
wouldn't it be more helpful to have success stories? Like,
oh, I know.
like when I go to a tattoo artist, let's say, and we're flipping through the book and I'm looking at their work, it's really nice to see
Yeah,
their
this is
body,
something I did, and this is
how they perform at their job.
yeah.
If a personal trainer has success stories, I would think that would be helpful. But I mean, what do I know?
Maybe I can get into the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles, synchronized farting or something along those lines.
Nice.
That's my goal. Now I got realistic goals. My main goals are really just to improve my cardiovascular health. Losing weight is definitely like part of it, but I think really just getting myself to the point where walking up my stairs is not a burden. It's not really a burden now, but I want to be able to continue to enjoy the basement of my house.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, and doing it now, I mean, you're a math guy. You understand calculus.
No, I don't.
You know what I mean by a limit function, right?
I have no idea about math.
Okay. All right. Well, I will explain then. If you were to say that like a function is y equals x squared, okay? The more x increases, y increases much more exponentially, okay?
I'll take your word for that.
As you get older, the ability to lose weight increases exponentially. And so for you right now, as a relatively young man of 57, it is much easier for you to lose weight now than in 5 years when you're going to be 62. So
Yes.
Thanks, man.
Do it now.
And I will go ahead and tell y'all this. As a nurse that has worked in rehab and long-term care,
Yep.
I would, and this is terrible, and this is going to sound like heartless. I do not want to be a patient that is a two-person assist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to. And
There's
that's
such a difference in the quality of care you get, especially, and this is going to sound, even more gross, but if you are 180 pounds, which, for our height, Dave, we're roughly the same height. 180 pounds is a very healthy weight for us.
Yeah.
It's probably not realistic, but something that is like a reach goal. 165, I happen to know, is my fighting weight back when I was fighting. I'm not going to be in that kind of shape again, but 180 would be a reach. 200 would be a delight. But the ability when you're 75 years old at that weight, if you have to go to the hospital and you can go to the bathroom by yourself, that improves the quality of your care enormously. So don't get into a situation where you're going to be so fat and so incapacitated that you can't do stuff like that. And I mean, we should all hear that clarion bell right now. Everybody get into shape. And so now here's an interesting thing about it too. So AJ, I'm just going to say, you look smaller. Have you been, since you moved to Colorado, losing weight?
In the past 2 years, I've lost, it's 88 pounds.
Wow. Wow.
I know you've lost weight.
Bravo.
Yeah. You
because,
well, I didn't realize that.
Well, you post a daily picture, and I've sort of seen them over the course of the last year, and you definitely look like you are crushing it out there. And so I am excited to, as I start to do some better numbers, to hopefully share them and get some good advice from you about this as well. So Thank you. And that goes for all of us. All right.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about the weirdo.
Well, I think let's lead off with, because I just talked about a little bit of the Olympics.
Okay.
So this week I'm not sure why we heard about this controversy, because a lot of these people that talked about this controversy this week
said they weren't going to watch.
Had already boycotted the Olympics at the fucking opening ceremonies. Just, I thought you weren't watching, guys. But there was a boxing match. Imana Khalif, the Algerian boxer, was fighting an Italian boxer. First punch of the fight essentially breaks the nose of the Italian boxer, and she's in distress. And there was controversy because it became now the cultural war. This Imana Khalif is somehow transgender because she was not allowed to compete at the 2023 World Championships by the Russians, who run the International Boxing Association. The International Boxing Association, which used to be the governing body of international boxing events like the Olympics, the World Championships, and things like that, were removed by the IOC because they're a corrupt Russian organization.
As Heidi just pointed out.
Yes. Absolute clowns. And, boxing's always had its reputation of being kind of a clown-run sport. But the IOC took it over. I don't think we've ever heard the official reason why Khalif and the Taiwanese boxer who is going.
I think we're first of all. I think this is an issue that's worth a lot of conversation. I think by trying to do both of them at once, we make things a little more confusing.
No, because it's not a trans issue. It's not a trans issue at all.
It's not a trans issue at all. Yeah. The reports that came out from the IBA are different from the two boxers. And so it's important that we distinguish between what was in one and what was in the other. And the fact is, we really know nothing about what is in the IBA report, except that the chair of the IBA first said that they were going to ban Imane Khalif. And then afterwards, they produced evidence to do so. And this is in the middle of the World Championship run when she had just defeated a Russian fighter. And so Russian organization bans Khalif for no evidence, right? They couldn't produce a test or anything like that showed anything except for the fact that she'd beaten a Russian fighter. Now, there is a truth to the matter that Imane Khalif is taller than most of the women in her weight class. She's fighting at 66 kilograms, which is roughly 140 pounds. And I believe she's 6 feet tall. That's not unheard of.
But across sport, no, I just watched. NBA player is 7 foot tall. Do we kick them out?
Well, no. I mean, there's also a weight category thing too.
Sure, yeah.
But there is no physical evidence that Imane Khalif is anything but a woman. There is none at all. Okay. There are conversations based on her appearance, but the IBA used to ban Italian and Greek women for having too much facial hair from boxing. They said they were too manly. I might be exaggerating that a little bit, but it's bullshit. You can't say that because somebody looks a certain way. And you're exactly right. Height is ridiculous because there are. I just watched the woman who won, the Ukrainian who won the gold medal in high jump.
Oh, yeah, or high jump, yeah.
Yeah. That woman was a tall drink of water. But she probably weighs like 8 pounds.
Well, my favorite athlete in the Olympics is Turkish volleyball player Zara Güneş, who is 6'6".
Yep.
Holy shit.
My good friend Hannah, who is president of Mover and Shaker and the Liberty Movement, right? She played volleyball at Texas Tech, first at USC and then at Texas Tech. She's 6'6". Okay. Yeah. This is not heard of. They're human beings in all different shapes and sizes. And being big doesn't make you a man. Being hairy doesn't make you a man. Okay. None of that stuff matters. There's no evidence. And there's significant evidence that Algeria, which is a secular state, right? It is it is a Muslim state in which it is illegal to be transsexual, would not send somebody to the Olympics to
They
represent
wouldn't be
their
allowed to
country.
exist.
Exactly.
For that matter, is she safe to go home?
Right.
Yeah,
well,
Has
I
she
think
been
Algeria has
protected
defended her.
by
yeah,
the
Algeria is defending her
Because
pretty
all
strongly.
that actually happened here is
Right.
there was bigotry involved
Yeah.
and racism involved.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing that gets me is that it's not that it it happened one day and then we all learned and everything. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's still going on. Like, she had to come out today and say, let's stop the bullying.
It's still going on, and people are sharing the same bullshit stuff that's completely not true, right?
Yes.
And this is, circles around to the thing that this is the responsibility for everybody on the show, for everybody who's listening, for everybody who can stand up for decency anywhere. Don't let lies be repeated. Okay. We've talked about this before. The 10 Commandments don't say don't lie. They say do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Here's your chance to stand up and do something about that, because this person, Maine Khalif, has always identified as female, right? Has never transitioned, has the same sex organs that she was born with. As far as we know, has never failed a test. There's an accusation without a test by an organization that is suspect. Okay. I believe this less than I believe a police officer who says they found marijuana in a black person's car. And I don't believe that either.
Yeah. No, I don't believe that shit either.
So,
but it's not just Iman Khalif.
Right.
Lin Yuting, who is a Taiwanese boxer, is actually going to win a medal. And it had faced the same allegations from the IBA, was kicked out of the 23 World Championships. Good on her for persevering. She's going to win she's guaranteed a bronze. She's fighting in the semifinals. I think the way boxing is, there are 2 bronze medals for the semifinal losers instead of making them fight for a bronze medal, which that's fine for me. But so she's guaranteed a bronze medal. She could get a gold medal out of this. I heard about the first fight for Khalif. I haven't heard any subsequent fights. I don't know if she's had another fight yet, or
I don't know either. I watched some of her past fights. I watched this fight. I mean, this fight was ridiculous. The greatest boxing quote of all time is by Mike Tyson, which is, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
And it was a good shot.
Yeah, no, I mean, but lead with your chin, fuck around and find out.
Well, it's not just
boxing.
It led with her nose, and she broke her nose. And look, I know a lot of people want to make fun of the Italian fighter, and there's been a lot of people like, oh, she's a cop and all this stuff. I think if we're gonna, and I've heard her subsequent comments out of what happened, is that she had a broken nose, and it's really hard to fight with a broken nose. I'm just gonna say that's probably one of the worst things to have happen in the ring.
I'm gonna say that comments like that, to me, smack a lot of sexism, because men all the time.
No, I'm thinking from my perspective.
Yeah.
If I'm a dude and I'm in a fight,
as someone that has been punched and their nose was broken, it's really hard to function right after, let alone fight.
It's like running a marathon. There's a point of running a marathon where your legs are burning and your lungs are killing you, and through training you learn to keep going. Boxers have learned to fight with broken noses.
I'm sure, but so she decided to take care of herself, take care of her health, and gave up on the fight. Now she's just having regrets because it became an issue after the fight. That's one thing, but I think in 2021, when Tokyo happened, because it was supposed to be in 2020, Simone Biles took care of her mental health, decided to withdraw from some events, and we lauded her as a, some people, of course, complained about her doing this, but people have essentially lauded her as a hero for taking care of her mental health. I think let's give the Italian boxer a little bit of grace as well. That let her, I can't imagine training for so many years of your life to get to the Olympics just to give it up in 46 seconds.
Well, so I do like the phrase "giving it up in 46 seconds," but she did publicly on the air say it's not fair. It's not fair. Okay, she had a lot to do with spinning this cycle.
Oh, she had a fight yesterday. Thanks, Farrell.
Yeah.
Did she win the fight yesterday?
I'm going to look that up right now. But, and I can't remember what her name is, the Italian.
Carini. Last name was Carini. Yeah.
Yeah. She has since come out and said all the right things.
Yeah.
But there is a moment when you're in the ring, when you step into the ring and you say, I have to lose. Yeah.
It's not right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think there were some mistranslations, but yeah, I mean.
No, she said it in English. She was yelling at the Algerians.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, I mean, there's no mistaking what she meant at that point in time. So I'm not going to let her off the hook entirely. I'm glad that she's recanted that. I'm glad that she said that she can't judge it, but she clearly stoked those fires in the beginning, because that quote of hers was on all the bullshit stuff that people were sending around in the beginning.
Well, and I think one of the things is that it's an outcrop of what happened with the IBA and kicking her out of the 23 championships, in that since the actual evidence or the accusation actually never came out, just the judgment, that has been allowed to fester and carry on with and I'm sure the other boxers had some questions, but yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. They had tested her before the Olympics and ruled that she was fine to compete. Like that should have been good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. She passed that test twice, because she also fought in the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah, and she lost in the Tokyo Olympics. It's not like she had some massive grand advantage.
She lost 2 years ago in the World Championship. And the woman who beat her said, look, she's always fought as a woman. We have no evidence to the contrary, except for what people are saying. And, the woman who beat her, she's Irish, or she's got a genetic advantage in a fight. But, is much smaller, and Olympic boxing never ends in a knockout. Okay. It rarely ends in a boxer incapacitated. It's almost always scored on,
because it's only like 3 or 4 rounds.
Exactly. It's 3 rounds. And it is not, you're actually not trying to hit each other as hard as you can. You're trying to score points and step away. Yeah. You'll occasionally see,
someone get caught.
And
Greeny did get caught. I mean, that was a pretty solid punch.
Sure. She got caught. I mean, but it was her fault.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
it's
and I was just going to say, there are obviously some, relatively famous American fighters, Tyson Biggs and a few other guys who got in there and did execute, not knockouts, but knockdowns during their Olympic gold medal fights. Sugar Ray Leonard.
Hey, Jay, you wanted to say something?
Honestly, as far as this goes, I mean, this is the hate and the bigotry. And as far as the testosterone goes, women's testosterone's higher when they're on their period.
That's the other thing, is that testosterone is not a good measure.
Yeah, definitely not.
I mean, right now, my testosterone, because perimenopause, is higher than it was 10 years ago. Does that mean I'm a man now? Or, that's just the stupidest thing. It's so dumb to measure it on really any of this. And y'all know that I'm not a big sports fan. I'm not like, ooh, like whatever the fuck. But this woman is in danger. She's going to have people that never believe that never believe her.
And you're right. And it's not going to.
Can she go home safely?
Yeah.
Like, if
Yeah,
being accused of being transgender can ruin your career, how many brown and black women that happen to be tall are going to be out of a job? It's bigotry, hate, and stupidity. All right, one. And I know that well because I am from Tennessee. I'm so glad I'm not here for that. It would be hateful as shit. I can't imagine how bad it is right now.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking like Brittany Griner getting accused of being a man. Basically any hell, the dipshits that say Michelle Obama's a man. Like, it's just you're right. Like, even if the Algerian government completely backs Khalif, who's to say some dude in Algiers watching this, in let's say she loses and he loses a bet or something, is going to be pissed off at her because
not only that, you're talking about a secular state. You're talking about a religion. We've talked about this, the Pew Trust and the circle around the hardcore jihadists, and then the people who say, I wouldn't do those things, but I support the jihadists in doing those things. And there's another circle. You get to a pretty broad circle of the people who are willing to say, yeah, that's blasphemy. That is an abomination before God. And I'm executing Allah's will by doing something like that. And this sort of thing has happened in sports before, right? There was a Colombian who scored an own goal in the World Cup against the United States.
Yeah.
And he was killed.
Yeah, I remember that guy. There's violence that comes to athletes. I mean, remember Gabriella Sabatini getting stabbed on the court in Germany? Guys running onto the baseball field a couple times to attack.
It wasn't Sabatini. It was Sellers, wasn't it?
Monica. Yeah, it was Monica Seles. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, this is not a new occurrence. Anyone hate and scared in social media is now open, and their families are open to this harassment. And this is what's going to happen if you won't stand up for them and you won't stand up for what do you think is going to keep happening? Women with women that have had double mastectomies, women that are on treatment for cancer. Hell, I shaved my head and I got a couple of looks in the bathroom and I was like, please give me a problem. I was ready. But no, this is something that is created from the hate and the fear and the transgender people. If we could stop it, it would save the rest of us.
Well,
women, we want to talk about all that. That's fine. Let's talk about the safety of women. Let's talk about the rapist that was also at the Olympics.
Yes.
Yep.
If we're going to talk about the safety of women, okay. What if rape mattered? What if rape? We want to talk about.
Yep.
She's getting harassed, and memes are Mike Tyson in a wig. Mike Tyson, by the way, is a convicted rapist.
He is. I will say that I believe that people do their time. Some people can repent, stuff like that. I do believe, Mike Tyson's now a business partner with a good friend of the Liberty Movement, selling mushrooms, and he credits them for turning him around, fixing his depression, stuff like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I will say, however, so first of all, back to Iman Khalif. So she won her second fight, 5-0 against Anna Luka Hamori of Hungary. So she's going to get a medal.
Awesome.
She's going to get at least a bronze medal.
Good. So both of the fighters that had the controversy settle over them. That they're going to get medals, and I'm glad about that. And speaking of that rapist motherfucker, what was his name? Van de Velde?
Yeah.
Dutch beach volleyball player, was in London in 2016 and raped a 12-year-old. Raped a 12-year-old when he was 19. And and spent time in prison, was released, and was allowed to represent.
Sentence.
What's that?
1 year of his 4-year sentence.
Yeah, not a
Right.
surprise because it's bullshit.
It is surprising to me actually that England would have let him go back, because that's a capital. It's a serious offense. It's a violent crime. Why would they let him be returned to Holland? But
Yeah,
whatever they did, that was
they
clearly
did. He makes the Dutch Olympic volleyball team, the beach volleyball team. They lost today. They're out of the Olympics. Thank God. He was getting booed pretty mercilessly at each time.
You know what though? It is not enough that people booed him. You got to call all of his teammates accountable too.
Oh yeah.
Don't play with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, especially because it's a two-person
We'll
team.
play with Mike Tyson, just to be clear.
Listen, it's Logan Paul was about to fight Mike Tyson. You know what? Mike Tyson served his time in prison. This guy did not serve his time in prison. He recanted. He apologized. It's 40 years later. He's done a lot of treatment. He talked about what was wrong with him psychologically, why he's better now, stuff like that. I believe that people can be cured. I believe that people can recant. So let me ask you this then, AJ. Felons should never have guns again? Felons should never vote?
You're saying felons. I'm talking rapists.
Yeah. So rapists should never vote again.
Rapists shouldn't be let out in the streets.
Death penalty? Death penalty
for
every rapist?
I didn't say death penalty.
Never let out on the street. Life in prison for every rapist.
Streets again. They should never be allowed the opportunity to rape.
But other violent crimes you're okay with? Murder.
I didn't say that. I'm talking about rape. We're not doing this, libertarian. We're not spreading it into something I'm not talking about. I'm talking about rape.
But I can't say that I want to punish just one crime differently than all the other ones. Okay? Because a violent crime, for me, murder is a terrible crime. Okay? Murder is a terrible crime. And if you're going to say I'm going to punish this terrible crime, you're going to say I'm going to punish
every day.
I'm sorry, what?
Doesn't hear a song and is suddenly back in their murder. No, rape is for life. Rape is for life.
The family of murder victims live with it every day. The children of murder victims live with it every day. Where are my parents? All that stuff. Okay? That's terrible.
Once again, I'm talking about rape. I'm not talking about murder. Was there a murderer at the Olympics? No. There was a rapist at the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I believe that people can recant. I believe in salvation. And I don't believe that there's anybody who can't achieve forgiveness. If you disagree with that, that's fine. But yeah. I disagree. I oppose the death penalty for that reason.
Did I ever say anything about the death penalty?
The very fine line between life in prison and the death penalty is a very, very fine line. And the only reason, it seems to me that the only reason you're saying that is because you don't want to say that you're in favor of the death penalty. It seems to me like
penalty.
Not even for rapists?
Not even for rapists.
Why not?
I think that they should get the health care that they deserve. In fact, they did when I was their nurse.
Yeah.
They should get the health care they deserve. I think that if they're diabetic, they should get the diabetic diet.
What about the mental health care that they deserve?
Sore on their ass because they just refuse to take a shower because they're a rapist and it's dangerous for them. I'm going to make sure that they get taken to the surgeon.
Let's talk about this. So, I worked with teenage sex offenders for many years. Okay. And you know as well as I do that it tends to be cyclical. If you were raped as a child, there's a very good chance that you are going to be a rapist later on in your life. However, you can, through therapy, recognize, Jesus, I was fucked up as a kid. What happened was that adult raped me when I was 4 years old, but I didn't know any better because I was 4 years old. And I thought that's what love was. And so then later on, I said, oh, this is how I'm going to show this child that I love them, by doing to them what was done to me. I've worked with those kids, specifically that thing. And those kids can be cured. Those kids can be cured. Okay. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of therapy, and it takes a lot of growth, and they have to be willing to do the work. But I believe that those kids can do it. And I will tell you that if you don't believe they can be cured, they never will be. So this is one of the most astonishing things. When I worked with adolescent sex offenders, this is 1986. Okay. And we are primitive in what we're doing. But we knew that the people who actually were the most effective at turning around the lives of adolescent male sex offenders, almost all adolescent sex offenders are male. The people who were having the best results with them at the time was Boys Town. Boys Town, where there's only a few doctors and it's mostly priests. And we had a conversation. I had a conversation with a doctor at the time. I'm like, how is this possible? He's like, here's the thing. The staff believes that the patients will get better. And across all healthcare, that is a critical element in terms of results. If the staff believes that the patients are going to get better, they have much better outcomes in places where the staff doesn't believe that. And so having that sense of almost faith healing works. And I could tell you, I know kids who are rapists who are not anymore, who I have a good friend. I do. I know them personally. Good, a kid who was in my group, in my classroom, and his name was Graham. He was a sex offender. Later on in life, he realized that not only everything that he did was wrong, but he was not right. He was not comfortable as a man. He transitioned to female, and his life has been so much better since he's done that. But he was able to get to that place because we were willing to give him therapy. We didn't say to him, dude, you're a rapist. Rest of your life is in jail, no matter what you do. I believe everybody can earn forgiveness. You got to earn it. You got to prove it. I think that there are a lot of rapists out there who should never see the light of day again. But I'm not going to tell them that it's impossible, because salvation has to be available. If you were going to tell me that there is no salvation, for me, my choice would be the death penalty. I would rather be killed.
I think where we're having the disagreement here, and I think Janice hits it on the head, is that offering forgiveness for rape as a woman, and I fucking hate to speak on behalf of women,
but God, someone needs to.
I think that is, especially for the women, because they are by far get most of the rapes are occurred against them. It feels like they have to forgive their rapist, no matter how, no matter what that rapist did to them. And there are people that are just never going to forgive someone who caused them harm. And it is right. A rape is a lifetime sentence for the person that somebody who's molested. That is a lifetime sentence for them. Can they get treatment? Sure. Can they move past it? Maybe. But getting molested, getting raped, that is a lifetime sentence for them. And I'm seeing both of your points. I'm seeing both of your points, because I do know that there can be treatment for people, but I also know that that person's, does the person who was raped get treatment, get the same access to treatment? Because a lot of, we know our American healthcare system right now. If you're in prison, you can get treatment. Not great treatment, but you're going to get treatment. So from my perspective, it's a very hard, I'm never going to say never, because I'm going to say, yes, there are ways to treat people. There's also nuance in the idea that there are different types of rape out there. whether is it statutory between, a couple of years between the
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, kind of a Romeo and Juliet romance. Okay, that's a rape. Do they deserve to go to jail forever? No, probably not. But I get exactly where AJ's coming from in this one.
Look, violent crimes are violent crimes, and they fuck up the victims. There is no justifying what has been done. There's no way to make anything better. There's no way to minimize the damage that is done. The question in this case is, what is justice? Okay. And if justice is killing somebody, then that's it. If justice is ending their life, if justice is ending their ability to walk freely ever again, that's one thing. On the other hand, we know more about psychotherapy than we ever have. You can hear soldiers who will tell you that depression treatment now with psilocybin and MDA and things like that have given them a reset button. Most of the people who commit violent crimes were victims of violent crimes themselves. I just don't believe in a scenario where we say, that's it. The justice system will own you forever.
I agree that we should give them treatment, and if there was market treatment that, in consultation with the victim, that
what if rape actually mattered, y'all? It doesn't matter. Even in this very conversation with two of my friends, it doesn't actually matter. We automatically go to, but the rapist can be cured. I mean, fucking maybe.
But that's it. You just said maybe.
You've gotten to speak plenty, I think.
Go ahead.
What if it mattered enough that we taught consent at the very beginning? And I know you're a big fan of consent, Dan. I know you are. What if we taught that at the very beginning? What if we actually bothered to take care of the victims of rape so that they don't become future perpetrators? Because that's apparently what we're actually worried about. Not that they're victims, not that they're damaged, not that they're hurt, not that they may or may not have to carry the rapist baby or may never have kids. Who knows? We're concerned that they're going to be perpetrators. So why don't we flip that entire system around and treat
Nothing that I said precluded any of that. Now, here's the thing. What you said just now was, maybe they can be cured. I still wouldn't let them out.
I didn't say I wouldn't let them out. I said, no.
Previously, you said you would never let them out. Previously, you said you would never let them out. And just now you said, maybe they can be cured.
Maybe they can be cured.
So you're saying that if we think somebody can be cured, you would be okay with a rapist having served their time, having been cured, having apologized, I don't know, do some form of proving their sincerity, paying off their debts to society, and then being a free person again?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I'm so sorry. Didn't fix the paper, Dan.
The paper can never be fixed.
It doesn't fix the fucking trauma either.
So then kill them.
I didn't say kill them.
Because you don't want to own that piece of it.
You're assuming that I want to kill people. I don't want to kill people. I do believe they belong in jail. They
forever.
Belong.
You believe they belong in jail for forever? Yeah. Okay. For me, I can't distinguish
I know.
between
You'd
that.
rather be dead. Duly noted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've hit the end.
Let's we'll definitely move on from that. Well, I know we're going to disagree on this one, and
let me cycle back to the Imain Khalif thing, though. If the people who did want to say she's a man or she failed this test result or anything like that actually wanted to have a conversation, this would have been the best possible scenario to have a conversation about what people want to do in this sort of situation. But they didn't want to do that. These are the same people who they say, oh, well, she's XY or she has male chromosomes or anything like that. But they are opposing teenagers in the United States with that scenario getting gender confirming treatment, which is ridiculous, because how can they complain about this woman who they have no idea whether she's XY or Sawyer syndrome or whatever the thing is? How can they say that that's possible and then oppose children like that in the United States getting the therapy that would allow them to live their life productively and not compete in male sports? It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, they're not going to have that conversation. It's all just we're in an outrage porn life.
Yeah,
like we are just here to oscillate from the this controversy to that controversy to this controversy to that controversy and not solve any. It's just to get everyone angry at one another, and we're going to get angry at each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was never any room for actual conversation. I did see a funny meme this week. As a picture of Elon Musk several years ago with thinning hair up here, and somebody saying that hair transplants and a jawline enhancement is actually gender affirming care.
It is. It is the definition of it. And there's that what's his name from Turning Point America, who had his chest enhanced because he had sunken chest syndrome, but not fatal. But that is also gender confirming surgery.
Yeah.
All sorts of people have gender confirming surgery all the time. Men have hair transplants. Men have gender confirming boner pills that is paid for by health insurance. And yet, if we know that there are people who are seeking this out, they're not even allowing doctors to talk with the family in Texas about what the options are. And anybody who supports that has no business weighing in on what's happening here, because we're talking about a woman who has never had any gender confirming, any gender changing, any transition surgery or medication, has lived as a woman all of her life, probably never even heard that there was any question at all about anything being different from her than any other woman. And yet,
just because of her looks, and that's
exactly.
I mean, that's absolutely insulting.
Right. That's right. That is the worst part of it. Is that that's what it really comes down to, is that some people think she
didn't put makeup on in the ring.
Well, that she looks manly, which of course is completely ridiculous, because that definition is buying into, what American companies have told us women are supposed to look like. So it's the most insane
bullshit
thing in an insane year. And the only thing I can say about it is that I'm trying to engage the people who I think would actually be able to listen to talk about this, because there is a teaching moment here that, first of all, the truth is not what you people say it was. Okay. There's no indication that Emaine is anything other than a woman. But if she were a woman who had XY chromosomes, wouldn't you support her being able to get therapy? I appreciate the Rugby Sevens quote, Tom.
Yes.
Wouldn't you want her to be able to get the therapy so that she could live life in a happier moment? Wouldn't you want her to achieve the place where she wouldn't be competing in women's sports? They have to answer that question. And so bringing up that question to the small-minded bigots out there right now, I think is doing some good. It's very frustrating to engage with those people, but I think we have to do it.
there are people that you can reach. I'm sure there are plenty of people that you can reach, and I think a lot of people who posted earlier this week on this matter are now well aware that they jumped the gun on this. And you relate your story about the guy that has put out his mea culpa on it. You know, yeah, reaching out those people and getting them to change their mind on their past bigotry is great. Um, the whole Daryl Davis conversation, I guess.
There are a bunch of examples of that, and I think that if you go back and you look at the history of America's relationship with first the LG community or LGBT community, and eventually we start adding in T, right?
Yeah.
But in the beginning, there's no acceptance at all. And what happens is that some people keep pushing to have rational conversations about them. And eventually we get to the point where people realize, you know what? Gay people aren't a threat. They're not pedophiles. If anything, we know that priests have a higher percentage of pedophiles than gay people do. People learn from lots of conversation and lots of visibility. And that's where we have to be in T conversations. Now, what we're talking about here, right, is intersex specifically. Intersex is relatively rare. 1 out of 1,000 has the same prevalence as natural red hair. Let's start having conversations about that. Okay? It is a real thing. And visibility is what gets us there. So as painful as it is, I think people should find a way to engage with their bigoted friends, their morons, the people who are repeating lies, and just say, look, here's what the truth is.
All right. Well, speaking of bigoted friends and morons, the Trump campaign has been having a real one this week.
Weird. They're weird.
They're weird.
Yeah, they are.
The word of the week is weird.
Yeah.
And they are. I mean, so Trump addressed he had a Q&A with the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Chicago this week. And immediately started, first off, was very competitive with one of the questioners, basically asking why black voters should trust Trump. And he went off on her being a nasty journalist and being treated very unfairly and all that stuff. But then went and questioned Kamala's ethnicity.
Right.
That she's she's black now. I thought she was Indian. Like, she went to HBCU. She pledged a black sorority. Like, this is back in her high school days, her college days. That's a pretty good indication that she's. And I don't think that she's not claiming her Indian heritage at all. She's very proud of her mother and her heritage as well. But I've never heard her present herself as, I'm just Indian American.
No, me neither.
Absolutely just went off the rails talking about this. And I think this is their line of attack, because I think ever since Harris got into the race, they just have no idea how to attack her, other than, she slept with Willie Brown back in the 80s or 90s. So she's a whore, because that's a common attack on female politicians. That she is a DEI hire, that bullshit.
That's ridiculous.
And then this whole attack on her ethnicity, and it harkens back to Donald Trump leading the charge on Barack Obama. In fact, they're actually claiming that she's not a U.S. citizen because her parents were immigrants.
Right.
But she was born in Oakland, fucking California. That's his. Yeah.
Right. And even if there wasn't the birthright stuff, her father had a green card at the time, and her mother. They were both in the United States legally.
Yes.
So there's no question of her citizenship. And the other thing is that J.D. Vance has an Indian wife.
Yeah, I mean that was the dumb thing because JD Vance has been parroting this stuff, and is she black or is she Indian? Like, dude, okay, you have an Indian wife, you have two biracial children. They're both Indian and white. So how are you not getting this fucking concept?
Right. I mean that part needs to happen more.
And the absolute regret of the Republican Party for picking JD Vance as their nominee, who has spent time, fending off accusations that he fucks couches, to, this weird stuff with Kamala's race,
right,
and childless cat women and all that stuff. I mean, he's been an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
That childless couples or childless people.
He meant me.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. You too.
Like
that you and I should not be allowed to vote anymore because
or
we
at least
didn't have children.
Kind of that. Somebody said it as the 3/5 compromise, that our vote would not have as much weight.
Yep.
That we shouldn't count as much because we don't have children. And I'm not discounting anybody's experience. If you have children, you have vastly more experience in this world than
Absolutely.
I do when it comes to, what do you need to raise your children? What world works to have your child grow from being born to getting them out of the house? I'm not going to discount your knowledge in that. But everybody's got something to contribute. I mean, you just can't segregate a population because they don't have
even worse than that experience. Because where this all breaks down is the idea of democracy. Okay.
Yes.
That one people gets to, I like that prediction, Tom, that the myth of an election gives you legitimacy to impose your will on other people.
Yes.
And that's where it's all wrong. And so that's why they want to recalculate who gets to vote, right? It's Stalin who said it's not who votes, it's not who gets to vote, it's who counts the vote that matters. But they want to start taking away the people who are allowed to vote. And this Christian imagery, right? That there's supposed to be families with lots of children where the men are the providers and the women are the homekeepers. And we return to this, I don't even want to say Pollyanna thing.
No,
because
it's not.
It's not. And, you hear all the time people say, oh, you know what? I wish we could go back to, a simpler time like the 50s when we didn't have anything. You know what? You don't hear black people saying that. No. You don't hear them saying, oh, yeah, I wish we could go back to the way things were in the 50s. Because the fact
or women.
Is,
or
women. Exactly.
Women
Right.
Especially, couldn't get a fucking bank account on their own, couldn't buy a house, couldn't do anything.
All that stuff, 100% true. And yet, here we see a major political figure, the vice presidential candidate, arguing and really repeating the crazy Trump stuff. The fact of the matter is, it feels to me like Kamala has as much momentum as Obama had this time in 2008.
Yeah.
The party is excited, it's galvanized, and it raises another good point. Remember all those Democrats who said we were terrible people for attacking Joe Biden, for talking about replacing him. Look, their party is in much better shape now than it was when Joe Biden was running. And for them to not realize that,
there are some Republicans probably having the same.
Oh yeah,
gosh, I wish we could have replaced this dipshit.
Well, Donald Trump, they definitely said that. They're like, oh, they can't replace Joe Biden. It's got to be Joe Biden. Blah blah blah. Joe Biden's the hardest for me to run against. Stuff like that. In the same thing that the Democrats did, right? Because the Democrats made Trump the nominee.
Yeah.
Or they had a plan to do that. So they at least learned that much out of it. But it's just crazy. And they've gone so far off the deep end. In fact, I'm going to send you something. You can put it up on the screen. I would like to see your guys, both of you, your ranked choice voting for president based on who's out there right now.
My question to you is, who do you have lower, Donald Trump or Randall Terry?
I have Donald Trump lower, and I'll tell you why. Randall Terry
is never going to win.
Not only is he never going to win, but even if he did win, he couldn't get anything done. Right? I don't think that.
I mean, I think that Republicans
are going to fall in line. Even these crazy ass Republicans are going to fall in line with Randall Terry's crazy bullshit.
There's some that.
Whereas Donald
Trump
Trump
past him.
seems to own the party.
Yeah.
I mean, Randall Terry, right, wants to put doctors in jail. There
are Republicans who have advocated exactly that, though.
Oh, and I think that they would line up behind him. But I would hope, Randall Terry wants to put Lindsey Graham in jail for being gay. That's
maybe Tim Scott too.
Yeah, I don't know. But,
allegedly.
So that's why I don't think that he could do anything. But if somehow my sixth place vote made Donald Trump win, I would be really. And I'm saying that there's seven legitimate candidates.
I get what you're saying. I mean, the chance that Randall Terry even wins is so that it gets to that sixth vote,
right?
Is so rare that it's better to place Donald Trump at the bottom.
But so what's interesting about that, and it kind of ties into my shirt here. Okay, RFK, he's going down in the polls because as you get closer to the election, things tighten up. People don't support third-party candidates.
Yeah,
but he's going to get 50-state ballot access, and none of us thought we would. Why? Because he's got the money. Money makes all sorts of shit happen. He gets press because he had money. It's all the things about it. And he has more money than Johnson Weld had in 2016. They actually got better.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah. Even before that, though, he raised something like $25 million. And I want to agree with Janice. I'm voting for Chase as well.
Yeah.
Chase will be on the ballot here in Maryland.
And he's on the ballot in West Virginia. I just confirmed that a couple weeks ago. So,
in that space, though,
who do you got for Kamala's vice president, though?
I like Shapiro. I think that they have to have Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is in play. There's an interesting stretch about it. There's a feud in Pennsylvania between Fetterman and Shapiro, and Fetterman has told Kamala not to pick Shapiro because he thinks Shapiro is a vanity-driven candidate. Hello, Pot. This is Kettle. I have some bad news for you. All candidates are vanity-driven candidates.
This is true.
Yeah, there's also talk that selecting a Jewish candidate would be bad for the Democratic Party right now because it's going to make the squad angry and blah, 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 blah. But, the squad is going down all across the country in primaries. Just another one lost today or is about to lose. Cory Bush in Missouri is about to be defeated. So three of three squaddish people who have lost their primaries.
But not the big ones.
Not the big ones. Not there's only 6, but not Tlaib. Although Tlaib is coming up, or maybe is it Ohan? I don't remember which one. But for sure, AOC isn't going to lose. And Ayanna Pressley, she certainly is with the squad. On the other hand, she has stayed away from the Palestine stuff.
Yeah.
So,
AJ, who do you want to see Kamala pick, or who do you think Kamala picks?
Well, I mean, I like Andy Bashir, but I mean, it's the South, so I don't really know. Probably will benefit her the most, I hope.
I mean, both Bashir and Shapiro are wonderful orators, and I think the getting either one of them. I mean, Shapiro was Attorney General of Pennsylvania. Getting him up against J.D. Vance, I think, would just be a trouncing. Bashir the same way, because Bashir would have the actual Appalachian chops to go after J.D. Vance. So my hope is that it is Josh Shapiro, just because I think that's the pick that makes the most sense. But every time we think that somebody's going to make a pick that makes sense, we end up with like a Sarah Palin. So
I would be pretty happy with Whitmer. I think
she's already pulled out of that.
Yeah, but maybe that's the play.
Talk with Jen Moore though about the anger with Whitmer. Hochul has the same baggage in that their actions during the COVID. With nursing homes and things like that just exacerbated the deaths.
I think it's great. I think that Whitmer's story, Republicans tried to kidnap me and kill me.
Yeah, definitely highlight.
I think that's a great story.
It'll definitely highlight the. Yeah. Who do you want to elect?
Exactly.
Strong, stable governor of a state, along with the vice president, or January 6th and COVID.
I will say Buttigieg has really impressed the crap out of me on his rounds on the talk show circuit.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is going to be president someday.
My question is that they were pretty contentious with each other during the 2020, which is not, it's not unheard of. You think of Reagan Bush in 1980. They had a pretty good contentious fight, but Reagan.
They're not as contentious as Vance and Trump, right? Vance called Trump Hitler.
That's true. So maybe there is a path for reconciliation to getting married.
Yeah, it's interesting to go back. There's going to be a good analysis 50 years from now. I'm sad that I'm not going to see it, but
I hope that we are
about maybe.
If
they can do the Futurama thing of putting my head in a bucket, maybe I'll make it, but I'm pretty sure the rest of my body's going to give out before then.
True.
But to talk about what happened in the 2020 primary, because Kamala got out before any votes. And so she didn't really bash Biden at all. And how much did that have a Heidi, you win for making the two-faced Janice comment? James, you were on the vice presidential list too, but now you can't be. Kamala getting out early, how much did that make it that she was the vice presidential candidate?
Well, and at the same time that Biden was so down in the polls that there was no reason to attack Joe Biden back then.
Right, exactly.
You weren't gonna.
It's a crazy thing. Right. Because they thought it was. Biden was down in the polls up until they came up with the idea we can't let Bernie Sanders win, right? Because it looked like Bernie was going to run away with it.
Yeah, so South Carolina, they circled the wagons and got everyone to drop out.
Right, and they said Joe Biden isn't going to live more than 2 years. So,
yes, Darryl Perry for Democratic vice presidential candidate. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome, especially if
the toaster license czar of the
Perry's Rules of Order.
Yes.
Got
it. Somewhere.
You got a copy right here?
I might.
I have been thinking about names, so I'm going to say an embarrassing thing here. No, you know what? I'm gonna censor myself, and I'm not going to tell that story. But I do think, you should raise your eyebrows if I'm saying that I'm going to censor myself on this show. But I do want there to be some way that we call it Perry, because Perry simplified rules of order, something like that.
I love Nando's Perry.
I love Perry too. Nando, exactly.
Nando's Perry is one restaurant here that is not here in West Virginia that I wish was here.
Yeah. So Perry.
Apparently they're opening in Atlanta.
Yeah. It's I do think though that Darryl, you should give us like 0.01% of Amazon sales from off of this thing. Some sort of commission for pushing the book. But here's where I want to go to. The part that I want to come back to, and I want to talk a little bit about Johnson Weld, because we were knocking on that door. Okay.
Yeah.
10,000 people joined the party in 2016 because of Gary and Bill. And we raised $12 million. In 2000, Jim Babka and Perry Wilson and Steve Dosbach worked on a plan where they essentially sort of mathematically proved if you could get 50,000 members, yeah, no, I know Tom's here. If you could get 50,000 members, dues-paying members in the Libertarian Party, you would have enough, you would have the critical mass of both money and membership to be a factor, a real factor in the presidential race. So here we see it. Ted Kennedy, who is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Ted Kennedy, who said that the COVID virus was targeted to not affect Jews and Chinese people. Ted Kennedy, who, is just off the deep end. And I've talked about, I like the fact that he's an enhanced person.
Oh, Robert Kennedy. You're talking about, you were saying Ted Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy, yeah.
Robert Kennedy.
Robert Kennedy, thank you. Robert Kennedy, who said, RFK Jr., who said the virus was designed to not affect Chinese and Jewish people.
Sounds like German new medicine.
Exactly. And, he said other really crazy stuff along the way. He's getting this limelight. He's getting this attention because we blew it ourselves. We could have been running. And, I know a lot of people don't like Bill Weld, but if your choice is Bill Weld or, I don't want to say Ted Kaczynski, who is the Mises candidate?
Oh, Rechtenwald.
Awards.
Yeah.
Right. The reason everything that happened from 2016 on was to not only stop Bill Weld from running, but to drive his supporters, anybody who thought he would be okay, do that. James, I'm quoting RFK. That's what he said. To drive those people out of the party. And if we had just been in a state where people had said, you know what, support the candidate that you want, I'm supporting Kim Ruff or Adam Kokesh or any of the other people who are running, and not try to drive out all the supporters of the people who were coming into the party at the time, we would have hit that 50,000 person mark. We would be in the place right now where really it is not just the worst two candidates running against each other, but a rematch of the worst two candidates running against each other. If there were a viable person out there, we would be pulling people off, but we're not. And, Chase is getting sabotaged by the LNC. So he's not able to do it. The party doesn't have any money. The campaign doesn't have any money. We're all suffering because of, the actions.
I will say, though, for all of the sabotage, all of the fuckery of the Libertarian National Committee, all of the, the controversies that we've had, I am absolutely proud of the job that Chase has done.
Chase is a great candidate. Love Chase.
Yeah, Chase, the Libertarian Party does not deserve Chase Oliver.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And it is, it's sad to look at the FEC reports and seeing,
funny, actually.
Yeah, what's happened to both the party, but also in the presidential race. And it is unfair. Chase is, I said this at the debate in Freedom Fest. I was quoted anonymously in the magazine, but you can find the quote where I said, he is the best libertarian speaker of my generation. Now, some people complain because they say Harry Brown was very clever. I never really got to see him speak in person. He had a lot of gravitas, but I don't think he swept people up the way that Chase does. But if you want to say Harry Brown's the best and Chase is second. Fine.
Yeah, I don't disagree with Chase being the best.
Yeah.
Definitely the best that we currently have.
Yeah, I mean, the way he answers questions, the
within
fire,
the broader libertarian movement, the broader liberty movement.
right? Well, because that's the thing about it, is that Chase recognizes that the liberty movement has to be broad for it to succeed. And if your liberty movement is broad, thank you, Tom. Tom, old
Differently
enough to
better.
remember
That's
all
good.
that. Right. I mean, right. Tom was, just retiring when Harry Brown ran for president. So,
I think you're going to earn a GFY for that one.
yes. But in that space, we have to be willing to, and I don't think the party's coming back, but
No.
the new party, the Liberal Party USA, or good for you, Dan, or whatever they're going with the name, whatever that party is, it's got to be willing to accept the broader liberty movement. And the broader liberty movement has to include people like Chase, who were Democrats and came to the party. It has to include people like Bill Weld, who were Republicans and came to the party. We have to accept that broader
not the
coalition.
fucking bigots.
Yeah, exactly. And not those people, not the idiots, not the assholes, not the people who don't truly support liberty or think that liberty means that they have the liberty to be small-minded bigots. There has to be an understanding that part of what libertarianism is based on the idea that people can be kind.
Yep.
And will be kind. And if you don't want to have the kindness, I don't want a libertarian world. All right, let's keep going.
Scared everyone off. All right, here we go. Let me hide the chat. Y'all ready for the quiz? All the
y'all ready for this? Bum, 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 bum. Sorry.
Dan caught my screen name, the Duke of Albuquerque. Actually, I did the traditional spelling of Albuquerque, the Spanish city. So I'm not New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. Yeah, and northwest Spain. So, all right. Question number 1. Remember, these are questions that went up until Thursday, so anything that happened Thursday and beyond is not part of the quiz. So, question number 1: which athlete is the most decorated American gymnast of all time?
This one
Mary Lou
changed.
Retton, Shannon Miller, Shawn Johnson, or Simone Biles?
So this one changed, and I don't know when. But it had been Shannon Miller, and now it's Simone Biles.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that it's Simone Biles.
It is. Yeah, she had won a gold in the middle of the week. So, yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday she passed it. Oh, no, it was on Thursday.
No, after winning team gold on Tuesday, gold all around.
And gold on Thursday. So it was on Thursday that it changed.
That's right, because probably Thursday midday is when this comes out, and the Olympics are in France, so earlier in the day that would have happened. So,
France.
Let me take a moment to just remember Mary Lou Retton from the 1980s.
I went to school with her at the University of Texas.
You did. That's right.
And she drove around.
West Virginia's own Mary Lou Retton.
She drove around in a Corvette that said Mary Lou, the vanity plates, and easy to spot. And like I say, every now and then I would bump into her at a party.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Question number 2: which app informed users this week that some of their photos were permanently deleted? Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, or Facebook? I don't know about this one.
I don't know either. I have to
Looks
think
like somebody looking at
if it were anything other than LinkedIn, it would be so big that we would have heard the story. So my guess is LinkedIn because of size, but I want to wait to see what Janice has to say. Oh, Heidi says it's Instagram.
IG. How do you measure douchebags? In Instagrams.
That's nice, dude. I see. There was a thread somewhere, and I'm trying to remember what it said. But I can't remember who they were bitching about, unfortunately. They said,
Correct.
that guy is the biggest douchebag in the Libertarian Party. And somebody wrote underneath, let's not minimize how hard it would be to be the biggest douchebag in the Libertarian
It was
Party.
Jared Hall, which
They were right. Exactly. That was it.
how you call Jared Hall the biggest douchebag in the
Oh, it's
Libertarian
crazy.
Party? He is one of the salt of the earth guys in the Libertarian Party. It just blows me away.
Yeah. It's interesting, that's, I don't want to talk about the people who did it, but it's tough. I try to resolve that sometimes about, there people are just flat out wrong, but I will try to tolerate them.
Yeah, I catch flack from them every once in a while especially when I post pro-trans stuff. So.
Yep. No, they are definitely against that stuff.
Yeah.
But all the more reason to put it in their face.
I know. I like making bigots mad. So.
Exactly.
Question number 3. Gabriel Medina of Brazil posted a near perfect 9.9 score at the Olympic surfing competition. Which island is hosting the surfing events this year? And it's really cool.
I know
too. AJ, you know?
I don't like sports.
Yeah, I know.
Looking at the names of all these places, which
Bali, Mykonos, Tahiti, or Ibiza. And of these, only one of them is a French dependency. Janice got it.
Janice has got it.
Tahitian treat.
Yeah. That's
a
great
photo.
That is a great photo.
Tahiti, yeah, that is an awesome fucking photo. That's probably going to win some kind of Pulitzer Prize at some point this year. But it's like the largest distance between the Olympic host city and where an Olympic event is being held.
Yeah, but we're going to beat that the next American Olympics because they're going to have an event in Guantanamo and one in Hawaii. So
they're going to have one. Really?
No.
Or no? Okay, I was like Guantanamo. Prisoner exchange? Well, I mean, like synchronized prisoner exchange.
I can't believe we haven't talked about that part because that's
the Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
Yeah, but let's finish the quiz.
Yeah. Which state has the largest homeless population in the United States? Oregon, Florida, California, or New York?
Heidi already got it right. Anytime they say largest population in the U.S., the answer is always California. It's that much bigger. You could say, which state has the largest population of rednecks? And even though there's not a lot of rednecks in California, there are more rednecks in California than there are in Kentucky. Because Kentucky just doesn't have that many.
You could also say New York. If you go outside of New York City, backwoods New York.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah,
my mother-in-law lives in. My mother-in-law lives on the most obscene driving route. In order to get there, you get off of 87, and you drive through Gayhead to what's the other one called? Oh, yeah, you get off at Coxsackie, and then you go to Gayhead, and then you turn left at Climax. I am not kidding. That is the driving direction.
I mean, it sounds like the natural progression.
Exactly.
It sounds like a natural progression there. Like, makes sense. All right. Question number 5. Which politician removed himself from consideration as Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate? Remember, this is a few days ago.
Right.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, or Minnesota Governor Tim Walz?
I know that this was the Coop.
Yep.
Mainly because I'm so into chickens right now.
But yeah, it's an interesting decision to pull himself out because he is a lame duck governor. He's
in related news, I removed myself from availability for the next shuttle crew to go into outer space. So, I
mean, as much as Shapiro makes sense from keeping Pennsylvania in play, and I think that's more vital than North Carolina. North Carolina would probably be more in play for the Harris campaign. They still may get North Carolina.
I think they will.
It had been trending more Republican before the whole switch up. So I haven't even seen
it has. But when you go back to enthusiasm, you look at the 2008 and 2012 numbers. Obama carried North Carolina both times by considerable margin. They were not in play. And I think that the Democrats have that machine in place right now.
Oh yeah, they do. I mean, that was the advantage of them taking the Biden infrastructure. And what is different is that you actually have somebody at the head of the ticket that can actually articulate and generate energy rather than sit there and watch him look like, God, I hope he doesn't fuck up this time.
I think too, you can't underestimate how bad, what an advantage is to not have been through a primary race, to not have 6 months of other people disparaging you or
beating you up. Yeah.
And even your opponents, even the Republicans aren't attacking you.
Yep. Yeah, that is a definite advantage. And I mean, we've been going through cycles now where it's like our presidential elections are getting longer and longer. It's like almost as soon as somebody, we elect somebody else is announcing that they're going to run for president. And it feels like we just have this 4-year-long election cycle. Maybe they're going to be like, maybe going through these primaries is not the best thing, and let's do something with convention and not do the primary thing and then just have our candidate and not have them beat up for several months and having let's say they're a Democrat and having 16 Democrats yelling at them and digging up all the dirt on them only for them to get into a general election campaign, and how all that dirt thrown back on them by the Republican. So maybe we'll see shorter election cycles, but please, I beg of you, I'm tired of this crap. Question number 6: which theme park was soaked in murky floodwaters this week? Disneyland, Dollywood, SeaWorld San Diego, or Universal Studios Florida?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I would think that if California was flooding, we would have heard about it. So I'm going to guess that it's either Dollywood or Universal Studios Florida, but I don't know. But I will say, all the kids out there, if you're not appreciating,
look who came up with that one.
And privileged vote. So everybody should go out and acquaint themselves with one song from Dolly's back catalog today.
Yes.
Find a Dolly song that you haven't heard. An enormous back catalog. And
thank you, BB.
Just one of the greatest American songwriters of all time.
All right. Patrons of Dolly World theme park Dollywood we're seen helping each other wade through knee-deep water following a torrential downpour. And we did get quite a bit of rain here in West Virginia. So
us too. Sense. It was nice. We needed it.
No, well, it wasn't really nice because it didn't really cool it down all that much. It just got really fucking humid.
Yeah, it got humid, but we needed the soaking. The dirt was.
Oh yeah, my really front yard is trash. So, because I refuse to water my front yard. That's just a waste of resources.
You should put some veggies in there. Which
food item is linked
to widespread listeria outbreak in the U.S.?
Yes, food item widespread listeria outbreak in the United States: yogurt, cheese, milk, or deli meat. I heard the story this week because it's a famous brand of it.
Oh, AJ knows. What'd you say, AJ?
Boar's Head.
Deli meat.
Yeah, Boar's Head deli meat. Got recalled.
All right, I got some dirt to spill here. So I worked at the Stop and Shop Deli in 1987 in Massachusetts when Boar's Head was just coming on, and the stores liked Boar's Head because it allowed them to raise the prices on the store brands, but still be cheaper than Boar's Head. And so Boar's Head isn't particularly better. It just has the premium label. And there's some people who always buy the premium label, but allows the stores to have greater profit margin on the store brands. And so that's why Boar's Head is everywhere. It was a really great marketing decision.
Yeah. Question number 8. California is battling the 5th largest wildfire in state history. What is the name of the blaze? I'm expecting Janice to know this one. Is it the Creek Fire, the Hill Fire, the Park Fire, or the Vista Fire? I think it's the Creek one. But
I think it's the Creek Fire, but I will wait. Yeah, but you know, you were also raised as an Islander fan. Although I will say, the best
wow.
pizza I ever had was in Unionville, and that was really good. So there's something to Long Island.
Heidi gets it. Janice gets it as well.
All right, Park. All right, that's
Park
good.
Fire. Northern California has destroyed hundreds of structures and is estimated to be bigger than the size of Los Angeles.
That doesn't seem that big to me.
Western cities are sprawl more than
They are. They are.
Than,
I mean, LA has 5 separate downtowns, right?
Yeah.
The Century City. I can't remember them all now, but yes, that's a good point. You raised an excellent point.
Yeah, because like Albuquerque is larger than several, like
Vermont.
Well, it's larger than a few nations. So
nice.
All right. Question number 9. Which country is racked with protests this week following its disputed presidential election?
Maduro.
Yeah. Venezuelan elections.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Have we heard from Kyle Varner lately?
I have. He's posting, but I know that he's cut his list down quite a bit.
Yeah.
But he actually, hasn't talked about this particularly, even though you're right, that's his hotbed issue.
Yeah.
Remember, he bought a bunch of houses and set them up for political refugees from Venezuela in where he lives in either Washington or Oregon.
Yeah, I think he's in Washington.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He was one of those people that got attacked by the Mises folks.
Oh yeah. They everything about Kyle.
And Kyle is one of the best people.
Yeah, agree. Kyle was working, now that you say it, I remember he was in the Seattle hospital that was ground zero for COVID in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one that debunked a lot of the dumb fuckery that the Mises folks put out about COVID. All right, question number 10. Which iconic Star Wars costume piece recently sold at auction for $175,000? Is it Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, Princess Leia's golden bikini, Yoda's robe, or Darth Vader's cape?
I mean, it's got to be.
Did we get a context clue? We didn't even look at the context clues earlier.
We did briefly. I didn't see one. That image doesn't help much. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love that picture. Fire. We already did that one. And Maduro. Okay, so no context.
Everybody says it's the bikini, so I'm willing to agree with that.
I've got this bad vision of some.
Yeah, I don't.
Getting
let's not even say it.
Yeah. All right. The iconic gold bikini worn by Carrie Fisher on the set of Return of the Jedi was sold for $175,000, and to me that seems low.
I think yes and no, because there's this question about. I like James's comment there. There is a question about what's real anymore, right? You can make. True. I have been to tons of parties where women have been wearing this costume. So, who's to say what's the real one or not?
I mean, you might have some kind of chain of custody, or that it's verified by the studio.
I'm sure it is the real one. The studios are actually really good about that. But the thing is, if there's so many knockoffs of them, how much value does that make on the original? I mean,
now that it's gotten out into the wild, we may never know. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think it's real. Yeah, exactly. It's like I think we talked about the fact that 10
out of 10.
I had put a fair bit of effort into reproducing Spider-Man 1 copies in like 1992 because why not? Right? Those things are ridiculously overvalued. You sell like 10 of them. you're good to go.
Dan, you probably shouldn't admit to fraud on the air.
It's only
Statute of
fraud.
limitations, maybe, but
It's only fraud if I
You're
actually
caught.
sold one.
Oh, there you go.
I put a fair bit of effort into it, but I can't do anything artistic.
Strangely enough, James, they are profitable. There is a lady that farts into jars and sells them on the internet. I mean, you can sell anything on the internet, but this one lady farts into jars and sells them and makes a lot of money on it. I mean,
That's
weird.
That's nothing. There are people who sell bottled air from remote locations for ridiculous amounts of money. In fact, AJ, you could probably do this. If you haven't been up to Rocky Mountain National Park yet in Estes, Colorado, it's a fun summer trip. You want to do it now before it gets crazy.
So,
but you can sell bottled air from there, and people will
It's
pay
on
money for it.
oh, so it might be a little smoky. just sell it as smoked air.
Is there a fire right now in the Rockies? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's
surrounded and have been all week.
It's funny. My brother has not mentioned anything to me. Let's see.
I mean, Western fires are kind of, especially getting to this point in the summer, because you know this is monsoon season out there, so lightning and dry vegetation is not always the and dumb campers, not always the best combination. But 10 out of 10 this week, not bad.
Really good.
Not bad at all. All right. So, any other things you want to talk about before we head out for the evening?
You know, I want to talk just a very simple thing. In one of the best-selling books of all time, Patriot Games by Tom Clancy.
That is a good book.
Yeah, it's a great book. I mean, they're dated now, but I definitely recommend everybody read through up until I think Dead of Honor was the last one that was any good.
Executive Orders was not bad.
Isn't Executive Orders a little cheesy? Dead of Honor?
Yeah, Executive Orders, because Dead of Honor,
right?
Spoiler alert, kids, is
right
at the
Jack's
end.
Already president.
Yeah, at the end of Dead of Honor is when the Japanese knock out.
Yeah. But also Tom Clancy, huge spoiler, Tom Clancy invents the idea of flying a jumbo jet into a building. Right? They crash 747 into the
in fact,
in the U.S.
that
Congress.
week, I was on a trip to
that's long
St.
before
Louis.
9/11.
I was on a trip to St. Louis on September 11th, and the book that I brought with me to read was Dead of Honor.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, "Holy, okay, great."
Yep. No, I mean, I the first time I've ever seen that, and actually, you know, obviously we know B-17 flew into the Empire State Building in the 50s, but but so in that book, there's a terrorist organization that is like the ultra IRA, and they want to hurt the IRA because they think the IRA is too moderate. And so they end up committing this really horrific act of terrorism. You know what? They attack Jack's wife and kid on the bridge.
Yes.
And an FBI agent
tried to kill the queen or king at that.
Well, first they try to. Right. So you know it's fiction because it's based on the idea that Charles and Diana are a loving couple. That's part of the plot.
That's right.
But at this point, they commit this act of terrorism, and the IRA gets blamed for it. And the IRA loses a bunch of donations. And there's a guy who's actually an FBI agent. He goes into a bar, an Irish bar, to his uncle. He says, "Look, you've always supported the IRA, but this is what they're doing in our country." And then his father kicks the IRA guys out of the bar. And the commentary was that here was an agent of the FBI carrying out the misinformation of, you know, this other group, the more extreme group.
Yeah.
That happens to us all the time. There's misinformation that we get. in front of us, and we end up carrying out the missions of people that we really oppose because we haven't taken the time to really find out what the true story is. And so, go ahead, Dave.
I will say that the lesson of this is not, and because the Russians, Chinese, anybody who wishes to do the United States harm is doing it. The goal of them is not to, to an extent they may want to have a favored presidential candidate, but their goal is to sow dissent in our institutions, and not just governmental institutions, are just what is America. They want us fighting each other because we make ourselves weaker.
Right. And I think that we, as an open society, and at one point in time, as a society that prided itself in tolerance, have said, well, you know what? We're going to listen to these things. And then we got burned by listening to things that were just complete bullshit, hate speech, stuff like that. And we're like, you know what? I'm not going to oppose this because I want everybody to have the right to say it. It can't be like that anymore. It's on all of us to say the things that we think are right. And, we had a heated conversation here. And, AJ, I am sorry that we got so engaged, but I very much love you, respect you, and I am happy that we can have a conversation like that, because I think that we model for everybody else how that thing is supposed to work. You can be heated on the other side of issues. We never swore at each other. We didn't refuse to talk, any of that stuff. This is the place where we have to be right now, because there are people spreading all this bullshit about Imane Khan and Imane Khalif, and these issues that there's just blatant untruth for. We have to be willing to calmly engage these people and say, let's stand by the truth. Let's have these conversations in a manner where we're talking about things that are actually truthful.
Yeah. And we can disagree.
Yeah,
we can disagree. I don't agree wholeheartedly with either one of you on that debate, but I see both points. So, but I love both of you. Y'all are both my two of my best friends in this world, and I'm glad we had this discussion. I wish it wasn't as heated, but it's a good discussion to have.
The strongest iron is forged in the hottest fire.
It's true. It's true. All right. Well, any other stuff for the week besides saying good night, Gracie?
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. Love you guys. See you all in a week.
Yes.